what makes a franchise a franchise? What makes Paper Mario Paper Mario? See, the reason why people expect Paper Mario to be like the first two is because, well, that's how they define the franchise, Paper Mario. But should it? See, we're having a bit of a problem recently in media. If you look at many franchises that have undergone changes across their tenure, but especially recently. If you look in film, you've got Star Wars, TV, Star Trek, Doctor Who. Paper Mario has the same problem. Now, Paper Mario 64 was released in 2001. That makes the franchise 19 years old. It's going to reach its 20th anniversary in a year, which is, fantastic for any franchise. And even then, you could go further back to the SNES with Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars. I think that's right. I'm going to assume that's right. And which makes it an even older franchise. But then, that's the thing, it's an old franchise. It's gone over many different transformations. It started off as an SNES RPG, then when brought to 64, they chose a more simplistic art style. People don't like it if you call the art style paper, which I understand it. People associate the paper part of Paper Mario with the more modern games, with their quote-unquote gimmicky, gimmicks. Whereas the early games did just use it as an art style, at least. That's one of the arguments that comes into why Paper Mario has changed so much. There's also the battle system, which has also changed over its 19-year history. But the thing is, they were developed by two different teams. And even then, even Super Paper Mario, the weird cousin, was developed by the same team, and yet they still went in a completely different direction. So really, if Paper Mario was to return to form, which the Origami King is, at least in the eyes of what I suppose you could call them the diehards, isn't going to be returned to form. It's going to carry on the path that Colour Splash started, which was a derivation is not a word, a offshoot of what Stick Star was. Some people would even call this like the same gameplay as Stick Star. I would disagree. I think Stick Star was a much more simplistic, where Colour Splash refined that, although obviously there was issues, but then there was issues in the older games. There was a lot of backtracking. See, that's another thing. A lot of people complain about the battle system, and I think that is fair. There are some very vital flaws in the battle system of the current games, but the original games, the battle system was never that, it was baby's first RPG. It's not like it was the most complex thing ever, and some people like that about it, some people like the smaller numbers, but I suppose that I'm veering off the point. I'm not trying to discuss the merits of whether one's better or one's bad. I want to discuss whether Paper Mario should be defined as what it was. There have been now 6 games in the franchise as of Friday. Well, it's a Friday for me. No, it's a Friday for America as well. I do forget that England is at the centre of the world. But there's been 6 games in this franchise, and 4 of them haven't been what most people want. And so, if you go by a majority vote, surely Paper Mario isn't what the Thousand Year Door was. Paper Mario is what it is now. Are the people that call themselves Paper Mario fans, are they really Paper Mario fans if they hate, literally 4/6 or 3/6 of the franchise? Now, you could argue that what makes a franchise is the original creatives, in which case the first 3 games would be part of the main franchise, and then all the others are just an offshoot, a remake, a rebrand, that it doesn't really capture the heart of Paper Mario because it's a different people. That's what some people's argument is that the fact the writing doesn't feel the same, and that could be down to a different set of creators, a different chief director. However, then again, a lot of people didn't and still don't count Super Paper Mario, the weird cousin, as being part of Paper Mario. That's not what they want. They want the Thousand Year Door. No one's asking for a return to Super Paper Mario. They want the Thousand Year Door. And if the original creators of the game decided to offshoot from the original formula and make Super Paper Mario, would they even, if they came back, the original creators that sort of defined Paper Mario, would they create a game similar to Thousand Year Door? Probably not if they continue on the trajectory that Super Paper Mario started. So if you don't define a franchise by its creators, and you don't define a franchise by what its majority is, then you're defining it in what it was, and what it originally was, which is a fair assumption. Star Wars has the same problem. The original trilogy is always held in an impossibly high regard, and nothing that ever followed, even when George Lucas tried to follow it up, it wasn't the same. People didn't like the prequels. They've only started to get appreciated. I'm sure the same will happen for the sequel trilogy in 20 years' time, when the kids who enjoyed it as a kid, they'll grow up and they'll have nostalgia for The Last Jedi, for The Force Awakens, for even The Rise of Skywalker. But some people will not say the sequel trilogy is proper Star Wars. They won't say the prequel trilogy is proper Star Wars. They'll define Star Wars as the original trilogy. Same with the Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door. That's what true Paper Mario is. That's what it should be. And I disagree with that. I think if you define something as what it was, it leaves it very little chance to change. I mean, if you go to a more broader issue, isn't that what we're having a problem with society at the minute? We are defining people as what they were 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and not who they are right now. But I am very aware that you're not here to hear my opinion on the matter. But I do think it is a problem for Paper Mario, because I do think people define what Paper Mario was as a franchise, what the first two games were. That's what they class as Paper Mario. And seeing as Paper Mario since then has done everything to avoid that, it is gonna keep, butting heads with a vocal group of the fan base, whether they're a majority or not. Again, it's hard to judge. There's loads of factors. One factor is going to be whether the Origami King sells, which we'll know we'll know in a couple of weeks' time. But until then, it is going to be a major problem for Paper Mario. And I do think it's going to be a major problem for other media franchises trying to move forward, whilst also trying to not become too different to upset a group of people. I don't know if it's possible. Some franchises obviously do, but it does seem that recently it has been a larger issue. But that was my discussion on Paper Mario problem. If you disagree, which I'm sure you will, do leave a comment, and I will do my best to respond. And yeah, I'd like to hear what your thoughts are on what makes a franchise. What do you think about Paper Mario? What do you think about Star Wars? Because I mentioned that. Just, let's have a chat. Yeah, I'll try and get a Paper Mario Origami King review up soon. And maybe do some comparison videos, that might be fun. But yeah, other than that, I'm Tom. I've had a good time, hope you have as well. And I'll see you, well, I won't see you because you're watching this video, but if I could see you, I'd see you soon. Bye.